Yeah, it's a nice little area.
Hi.
Are we on, Jim?
Yeah, you turn, you turn.
Oh, okay. We're going to call the pre-council meeting for the city of Ashtabula to order. Today is Monday, August 3rd, 2026. And Ms. Milberg, if you would please call the roll.
Mr. Roskovich,
Here.
Mr. Simeone,
Here.
Mr. Guerrero, Ms. Holman,
Present.
Mrs. Mills. Here. Mrs. DiGiacomo,
Here.
Mr. Timonier,
Here.
Ms. Cooper. Here. Mr. Khan.
Here.
Okay, very good. And Mr. Guerrero has informed us that he will be, he's coming, but he's just going to be a little bit late. So he will be excused until the time he comes then. Okay, very good. We have no visitors or acknowledgements that we need to make. The president's report, we will just say at this time, our next meeting is August 17th. Is a Monday at 6 o'clock, yeah, so that'll be our next meeting. Other than that, just a reminder that we are still down one counselor, so with regards to voting, anything that is 3-3 is a tie and will go down as a loss, and then anything that passes with 4 votes will pass, but we'll have to wait 30 days for to be instituted. I understand that the Democratic Party is holding interviews tomorrow for the new, that's the 4th, they're holding interviews tomorrow for the new council seat, or to fill the council seat, and the anticipation is that it'll be done by Friday, that there'll be an announcement by Friday, which I believe is the deadline. 45 days, so keep that in mind. So maybe on the 17th, we'll have somebody new join us. We will see. Okay, seeing nothing else, we will go right to the manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I only have one ordinance to request tonight. I'd like the ordinance to enter into a contract with AM Ford in Jefferson for the purchase of a Ford Maverick in the amount not to exceed $28,995. And that'll come out of Fund 412. This is a vehicle for the Planning and Community Development Department. We had an Explorer that I believe was a 2010, started to have transmission problems and other electrical issues, and it's just not worth fixing that vehicle anymore. That was a former vehicle for the fire department. Both the police chief, or the fire chief, and the fire marshal had that vehicle at one point in time, so it has certainly given us its useful life for the city. So that's the only one that I am requesting tonight, and it will be on your agenda for tonight. Just some upcoming things. We are still receiving bids for our liability insurance for the city. That expires at the end of this month, so at the August 17th meeting, we are hopeful that everything will be in place so that we can present an ordinance. And as soon as I get the information that's important for you guys to review, we will forward that along. Just want to say a big thank you to all of those that volunteered this past, no, it wasn't this weekend, it was the weekend prior, for the Wine and Walleye Festival. And of course, all of those that put in a full year's worth of work getting that organized. That was one of the biggest festivals, Wine and Walleye, that we've had in its history. I know the fire department and police department went through about 1,500 pounds of walleye for the weekend. I was in the wine tent area most of the weekend, and we far exceeded the numbers that we've ever had in that area. Fireworks, again, were phenomenal. really can't beat them. But a big thank you to the Lithbridge Community Association, all of the volunteers, city staff. I think just about every department of the city was involved in helping one way or the other with that festival and putting it on. Then, of course, to the community for coming out and supporting it. It was really a great weekend. Couldn't ask for better weather. Things went really well. And lastly, at the end of tonight's meeting, I'd like an executive session to discuss the purchase or sale of property.
Purchase or sell a property?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, we haven't had an executive session in a long time.
Mr. President,
Yes.
can I ask, Mr. Manager, on that, so the Maverick's a truck?
Yes, it's a smaller truck. Yes.
Okay.
If you think of like the Ford Ranger, it's kind of taken the place of that. It might be a little bit bigger than the Ford Ranger.
So, and they had like a SUV before?
Yeah, it was an old Explorer.
So do they, because that's what I was wondering, do they do things like, probably need ladders or different things?
This will help,
to-
especially when we have to board up houses. We can carry wood and things like that in
Okay.
it, yes.
Okay, so with that, do they get, and I looked up, kind of comparable, it looks like you got a good price, and it's local, which is good.
Yeah. So the way that we
Jefferson.
were able to purchase this locally, the state purchasing price is out there. As long as somebody local comes in at or under the state purchasing price, we can buy it direct.
You can do that,
Yes.
okay. Do we do extra warranties, or do we do our maintenance?
We typically do our own maintenance on newer vehicles like that. We do typically take it to the dealership while it's under warranty,
Okay,
and then we do our own maintenance after that,
okay.
or stuff that's not warranted.
Could I ask, on our agenda, we would usually approve an executive session before we have our business meeting, and I don't see it on our agenda anywhere where we approve executive sessions. It used to be, I think, like after we excuse somebody for being absent, and then we would,
It's number
where, am I missing it?
10 on the agenda.
10?
So that's where the executive session would be, is number 10. Mr. President, I would suggest that
Yeah, I see it there, but we don't,
right, the motion would be made for executive session shortly, right before you approve the agenda.
okay, yeah, that's what I mean, we used to do that,
Right,
right?
so
Okay,
when-
so before we approve the agenda, we'll have a motion to go into executive session
Yes, sir.
at the conclusion of a meeting for property purchase, or no,
Purchase or sale of property.
purchase or sell of property. Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll do that. Ms. Milberg, and I believe that's a roll call vote. After the reading of the legislation, we'll do it then. Okay. All right, thank you. And, yeah, and, Mr. Timonier, just, I had notes for the, we were gonna have, I just want to echo your comments about the city workers getting everything ready for Bridge Street. That was just, they did a fantastic job, and include yourself in that, because you were down there like the whole weekend and, working the wine tent, I think.
The
whole time.
entire
Yeah,
morning, noon, and night. Yeah,
include
every time I
yourself in
worked, he
that.
was there.
Well, you're Lithbridge and you're a city worker, but the city workers did a heck of a good job.
They did, and we, even at the end of the festival, the volunteers, we had members from the Lakeside football team come in, knocked out, taking down tables and chairs for us, which was huge, huge help. I think we had the street back open by 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, didn't even notice
didn't you-
that something
that
went on
something
down
was
there,
there,
so.
yeah,
It was a good, we've got it down. We've been doing this since 2009 now, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
And also, I want to thank Norfolk and Southern for cleaning the hill on East Sixth Street, the hill on the riverside. And it's just so nice, when you're sitting there waiting for the bridge, or just, you can see the boat clubs now and the boats and the river. It's just nice. So thank you to Norfolk and Southern for doing that. That really, and I'm surprised how many people have commented on it
Yeah.
to me. It's like a big thing, so that's
Well,
good.
As I've mentioned, they're much better to work with than CSX,
Yeah.
members of the Planning Community Development Department. We have several contacts. We made contact with all of them pretty much, and they were able to come out before the festival and get it done, so.
That was good. It looked good. Okay. So that's all you have tonight?
Yeah, that's just a quick update, I guess, on both the Collins Boulevard project and the Main Avenue sidewalks. Getting real close to having all the sidewalks buttoned up. Today, they were installing light poles, so hopefully we'll have the lights on pretty soon down here. There are a couple pieces that still need to come in for all of that, but the poles went up today along Main Avenue. Collins Boulevard is coming along really well. They have identified more sidewalk that they would like to replace as part of the project. Any of the sidewalk work would come out of the city's portion of that, so we're negotiating pricing on that and whether or not it would be part of this contract or we'd have to do it as part of another contract. I would like to get it done while everybody's there. I just don't want to pay at the rate that is in the current contract for the pieces. So ODOT's working on that for us, so there may be a slight change order coming in the future for that.
Mr. President,
Yes.
Mr. Timonier, who is requesting additional sidewalks and where?
This would be along the Collins Boulevard project, so mostly in the area that goes behind Signature Health on the curve there. And then there's a small piece that goes between Main Avenue and Park Avenue where we used to be at Key Bank. That strip, there's some pieces that should be replaced as well. There's a concern on the backside of Collins Boulevard as it wraps around the bend that the way that the sidewalks are deteriorated when they match up with the new concrete or with the new curbing, it's not going to match up well. So the contractor had ODOT take a look at it. We were out there with our city engineer to review it as well, and so they're just working on some pricing for us right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. President,
Yes.
and Ms. Holman, when we talked in Public Works, the change order that they wanted was nearly $130,000 for the sidewalk, so that's why you were
Yeah, that's.
checking
it's-
other options.
It's too high
Yeah.
based on
Yeah, nobody uses
what the sidewalk work we have going on around the corner and what ODOT has seen in other areas as an aggregate
Short space
average,
of
so.
time. Right.
yeah.
Mr. President, can I ask the city manager a couple questions?
Go right ahead, yep.
I got a request for a slow child at play sign on Columbus Avenue and 18th. I guess there's a lot of kids there now I've
On
never
Columbus
seen.
Avenue or on East 18th?
I guess the lady that requested it lives on Columbus and 18th, and she wants a sign, if permissible.
That's what I mean. Where would the sign go?
It
On
would
East
go on
18th?
Columbus, probably. That's where the cars are going fast.
Really, no kid should be playing on Columbus Avenue.
Well, I agree with you, but I mean, she's scared, and I guess it's a bus stop, and she's just scared. I don't blame her. And then at the far west end of East 23rd, not the last storm, but the storm before, we had a tree fall over there in a wooded area, and it's hanging against the wires. I think I reported that before.
Yeah, I think that was, it was on the lower communication wires.
That got brought up again.
Okay, we'll see where that,
And then also, we, on West 9th, back there by Save-A-Lot, the crew came and took a couple of trees down that were rotted out, which the guy's very happy for, but that's 1463 West 9th. He was just wondering about when they were gonna take the stumps down.
yeah, need to give us a little time to get there with the stumps. We do that ourselves, so
Right.
they don't come out immediately after the trees, but they go on a list and our staff usually comes around and does those.
And then I just had one more complaint about that real bad section of Harbor Avenue. If we could get around to somehow smoothing that out for the winter. That's between 23rd and 22nd.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes.
so I want to bring up what I think could be a possible solution to a problem. the bicycles, e-bikes, scooters on the sidewalks. Actually, my husband Chris, there was an incident where he was carrying out framed art for a customer and who opened the door and would narrowly miss being clipped by an e-bike. And it was a very mouthy 10-year-old that used very colorful language and claimed that he had every right to ride on the sidewalk. So, and I've also been on Bridge Street and witnessed near misses with motorized. So on vacation, they had in the downtown area signage that said no bicycles, e-bikes, and scooters on the sidewalk. And they were oval signs, they were very tasteful, both entrances. And I think that that could help, because I'm not sure, even though we know it's the law, does everyone know it's the law? And I think that that could help enforcement. Hello?
No,
You're fine with
that's a
that?
good idea. We can look into it, but yes, 373.11, it's not just e-bikes, it's all bicycles, all skateboards, scooters,
Yep.
that are not supposed to be riding on the sidewalks.
So just a sign. Now, their area also had no dogs, which that would be super for downtown, but maybe that's too grand of a plan, but this would certainly help with safety. So I've also been getting complaints about vehicles parked in yards, and was told, I said, well, did you call the police? And they said yes, and I will give you those addresses after the meeting. So when somebody is reporting cars that are parked in the yards, what procedure would you like them to follow?
Just need to call our office. We do
Call
it,
your office or call the
call
police?
Planning and Community Development. If we need to coordinate with the police department, we will, but daily we get those calls.
Okay. Okay,
And we
and I'll
do-
give you those addresses. I have pictures and addresses.
We do quite a bit of
Okay.
towing as well.
The what?
We do quite a bit of towing as well.
Well, the one picture, I mean, you can just tell by the, there's no grass where they've been pulling in for a while,
Yeah.
so.
They must be on an approved surface.
A what?
An approved surface, so a driveway, stone.
No, it wasn't.
That's what I mean. So you can't just park on the
Right.
front lawn, right?
Okay.
Yep.
And then one, actually I have, on the day of city council, everybody contacts me. So what is the status of our memorial committee? I guess that would be for John.
Well, there was only two people on the memorial committee, Mr. Guerrero and Mrs. Foglio. Mrs. Foglio was gone, so,
Mr.
yeah, go
President,
ahead.
I was given Mrs. Foglio's dossier.
Yeah.
Which
But I mean-
I have with me, but at this point, there's really nothing pending, if that's what you mean.
Well, because there's a request, it's about the Lunday family, that they would like a memorial for the last survivor of the Titanic that lived here. So I guess what is the process for that?
Mr. President,
Yes.
there were some conversations about this at the last, I think, park board meeting. One of the things that was discussed was getting a hold of the Marine Museum, that might be a good location on their property for some type of plaque or information about it. So that would not require anything from city council, but that's kind of where they talked about it at the last meeting.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Cavalier.
I just want to make sure I got all of my notes. I think think that's it. If something more pops into my head, I will bring it up.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have two items for tonight, and the first item is an ordinance to make supplemental changes to appropriations in the 205 State County Municipal Roads dash Public Works Fund listed on Exhibit A for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Ashtabula, State of Ohio for the period of January 1st through December 31st, 2026. In the amount of $35,000. The breakdown is on the last page for this ordinance. And the second item is an ordinance enacting adoption of the City of Ashtabula Budgetary General Fund Reserve Policy. The policy itself is attached to this ordinance and followed by the analysis that I sent the council a couple of weeks ago.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Khan. And that was it?
Yes. I'll need to-
Those terms. And Mr. Khan, I wanted to thank you for supplying council with that information about area communities and their carryover. I don't know if that's the correct term, or their carryover, and the percentage of, how that works. I think you did that like in a day or two, so thank you very much for that. The only thing was did you have the Ashtabula percentage listed? I'm trying to remember.
Yep.
Was that listed down there too? I think you had like 5, 6 cities, and were we down there? Because I'll have to go back and reread that.
Ashtabula is not listed, but
Okay, maybe,
it's,
can you just send that to us?
okay.
Add it to the list. Yeah, it was very interesting, and like I said, so, boom, it was there, so thank you. But maybe if you could do that so that we can have an actual comparison there, that'd be good for us, non-financial people. All right, thank you, Mr.
Mr.
Khan.
President,
Yes,
can I ask Mr. Khan a question on this policy?
yeah,
Okay, so let me see, after I went through this, so it would be DB, the minimum fund balance. So, and I was trying to do the math to figure this out, but we would keep a minimum of no less than 2 months, that's 16.67%. What is like a approximate of our 2 months?
Just a moment.
I was wondering, just like about.
Yep.
Because I didn't know, because then it said you could do this budget stabilization like the rainy day, so I didn't know if we had enough funds to actually do that or not.
So 2 months would be, just a moment. Spending requirements. 2 months would be $2.3 million, but it's an absolute minimum. So, it's not recommended to go that low.
Right. Okay, gotcha. So would there be, after you do all those formulas, we're not even to the point for a rainy day fund discussion at this point?
At this point, we have, compared to other communities, we have 46% our reserves over the current 2026 expenses,
Okay,
which could, of course, be better than that, because we have communities shown in the analysis that have over 100%.
okay.
So we're almost at the 50% mark.
We are, there are communities that have almost 200%, of their reserves compared to their expenses. We are like only 46%, which is a little better than City of Fairview Park and City of Defiance, based on the data presented in the analysis.
But our top goal is 50%? Am I understanding that correctly?
The way we put the parameters, it's between like 2 months, which is 16.67%, up to 50%.
Okay, thank you.
But it's up to the city council to establish, higher parameters if needs be.
Thank you, Mr. Khan.
And I had one more thing. I didn't understand this on FB, with the line, provided that utility fee increases have occurred at least once within the immediately preceding 2 fiscal years. I didn't know. Okay.
So that means that in a situation, in a scenario where an enterprise fund that is designed to be self-sustainable and self-sufficient revenue-wise,
Gotcha.
at any given point will require subsidies. We need to make sure that the fees increases took place before, so that we don't just blindly go and borrow or take money from the general fund without making attempts of raising fees in first place.
I gotcha, I
So
understand.
that just ensures that it's not a bailout for those enterprise funds.
Okay, I understand that we're, right, instead of taking and then for somewhere and then we can't pay it back. Yeah, there was I thank you so much. I can't imagine, this is a lot that went into here, and that it says that we should have had this. So, yeah, lots of work, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Cooper?
Mr. President, we have an ordinance on, that we're requesting tonight that you have in front of you that would give my victim advocate, Emily Busanich, credit for the time she served at juvenile court for Ashtabula County. So effective January 1st, 2027, in terms of accruing vacation, she would get credit for service starting October of 2024, because she came to us directly from the county.
Okay.
So this would be consistent with, what's the, well, not according to Carolyn. So, she has not been getting that credit, so
Okay.
in order to make it easier for the finance department, we're asking that it start January 1st of 2027.
Thank you.
Mr. President, Ms. Cooper, so am I understanding it correctly to say that if this is approved, she will get credit dating back to 2024? You said
Yes.
2024.
In terms of accruing vacation, you get so much vacation every year of service. If you're hired into the fire department or the police department or any of our union departments, this is automatic. It's part of their union contract. So since she's non-union, it's not part of, it was not given to her as a non-union employee benefit. I'm just asking that she be made consistent with the union employees in terms of prior credited service.
So will this be an exemption, or are we moving forward with the new policy?
Mr. President, just for clarification, I know that we put this into the non-union benefits package, that, because it mirrors the language of the unions. I'm not sure why this individual is being singled out to not get that, but regardless if it's union person or non-union person, we recognize that service at another political subdivision meant something when they came over, and so that's why it was included in all employment. Why this particular one, I don't know, but if this is what the finance department needs to clarify, it's not creating a new policy, it's something that's there, so.
So she would get the extra vacation starting next year?
Right.
We don't have to give her, like, back vacation, do we?
We're not asking for that, no.
Okay.
She's not asking for that.
Do we have any, is she due any other time? I didn't know if she worked at any other thing where she came, or just, okay,
Just her time at juvenile court.
okay. And it seems like she's doing a really good job, so we want her to stay on and,
She spent the past month applying for grants for between state and federal and all kinds of grants. So we're waiting to hear back about that.
it's good, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And before we let you go, Ms. Cooper, any Harbor Ridge update? Anything happening there? Because there was the article in the paper that you were featured in, and I'm just wondering where we're going from there.
So, Mr. President, we have filed a second request for injunctive relief with Harbor Ridge. And as far as I know, Building C is still supposed to be vacant. It still has not passed the city's inspection. There seemed to be a good bit of confusion at Harbor Ridge about whether they could put tenants back in without the city approving it for occupancy. Hopefully that has been clarified, but the second request for injunctive relief is still pending. They had 20 days to answer, and so it drags on.
Yeah, I'm not trying to, micromanage, because I know, but I just want to make sure, school's going to be starting, and if there's families there, we want to get them there so that they're not disrupted like they were last year and end up who knows where and have trouble getting to school and their buses and all that kind of stuff.
Completely agree. Want
I
them
know
there,
you do.
want them there safely.
Yeah, and I
When
agree.
they first started putting people back in Building C, it was my understanding that while the plumbing issue had reportedly been resolved, the cleanup of what the plumbing issue had left behind was not completed. Yes, the damage was cleaned up, but then not repaired.
Yeah.
So it was in various states and various apartments, and they just started moving people back in. So that's when the building inspectors went out and said, no.
Good, good.
And so we're hoping that we can all be clear now on what needs done to
Yeah.
what apartment, and clear instructions are given by the city, and clear responses by Harbor Ridge. We thought we had it in place before, but apparently we did not, so, but that's the goal. And if we can't get compliance, then we're really not gonna have a lot of choice.
Well, thank you for being on that case all the time. I appreciate it. I know we all do, and.
Catherine and Steve and Jason, they.
Yeah, they're on. good for-
Catherine and the two building inspectors
They're on it,
are,
yeah.
they're on it all the time.
On a related topic, Mr. Timonier, I noticed on the Route 20 apartments by Taco Bell that they've been working on them for quite a while. I see they got signs out now are they getting nearing rent, and then before those are rented, are those inspected?
Yes, so work has resumed over there. They will get inspected before they're able to be rented. I believe they're gonna try to bring 12 online sooner than, I think there's a total of 24 that are gonna be in the building. So they're gonna try to bring 12 online before they continue to work on the other 12. But we've wanted to get those online for quite a while. The work that's been done in there has been really nice. They're really doing the apartments nicely, so, and we need that housing back
Yeah,
online.
yeah.
Yep.
And they'll be inspected. I remember when we were up at the old building, Mrs. Church giving us a slide presentation on some of those apartments, so it's good that they've been purchased and remodeled and such. So thank you for that. Ms. Milberg, do you have anything for us tonight?
I have one thing. We received, I think this is just like a regular notice from the Division of Liquor Control that all Class C and D liquor permits for retail establishments that sell alcoholic beverages will expire on October 1st, and they'll have to apply for a renewal. So if there are any retail establishments that council has issues with, that they would like to object to those renewals, now is the time to do that. And that's all I have.
Mr. President, I have a question for Stacy. So there's 2 new businesses in Ward 5. Do I just put the request in for you to make up, for me to present to them?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Usually we do it at a ribbon cutting, but if there's not a ribbon
I
cutting,
don't think there's been a ribbon cutting, that's
Okay.
why.
yeah, just let me know and I can make those up for you.
Thank you.
All right, we come to the time, 6:34, we come to our time for our committee reports, community development, economic development.
There'll be a meeting this Wednesday at 5:30 here, and the guest is Policy Matters Ohio. The topic is data centers, and we will have, hopefully, a moratorium for data centers coming out of that meeting.
That would be a recommendation, then council you'll bring that to council.
Yes.
Finance and Personnel, our next meeting will be August 21st. Friday, August 21st at 8:30. Public Works and Utilities,
We did have a meeting. I'll try to make this as short as possible, but it was Tuesday, July 28th here at 8:30 a.m. The manager went over about Public Works and water pollution, their help during the Wine and Wildlife Festival. And right before that, we had a microburst earlier in the week causing significant geographic isolated damage. So staff was commended that all that was cleaned up. It was like the perfect storm. That happened, and then we had the festival and everything. So there was a lot going on there. And Mr. Manager, I was wondering, when we had that increase for the trees, was that number in there, that 35,000 for tree removal? Does that have to do with the microburst?
Mr. President, no,
removals?
that shouldn't, typically the increase for that is the bids that we're getting in to actually have trees removed.
For the
Yeah.
other ones? Okay.
So this is stuff that we do ourselves. Yes, we still have to pay to have it disposed of, but it wouldn't create an increase like that.
Were more of those trees, do you know, homeowners versus city?
So regardless if it's a homeowner's tree or a city tree, so whether it's on the tree lawn or on the other side of the sidewalk, if it
Yeah.
falls into the road, we've got to get the road open.
Okay.
So some of the time, we will take the trees away at that time. And then, of course, if it is a tree lawn tree, we have to remove everything.
Yeah, they did a good job. I had to be in that, happened to be in that area, and I did walk the whole length of that walnut, and I just couldn't believe it. And then as I drove back home, there was nothing else, It just kind of hit that one area. So thank you, all the staff on that.
Counselor Mills,
Yes,
what is a microburst?
sort of like one area hits, that wind comes right through. They don't consider it's a tornado or anything, but it just hits one kind of, I don't
Kind
know.
of straight line winds focused on one area. So it's just kind of like a boom, a microburst in that area.
Yeah, and then you go to,
And it was
couple
very
streets
much.
over nothing.
It was very much like that, from West 9th Street north to the lake, from Walnut Boulevard as it comes out onto West 9th, and then the Lake Avenue, just really isolated within that section of the harbor. Stuff to the south of West 9th really was, I mean, a couple, smaller limbs and leaves everywhere, but there were some significant house damage, car damage within that area.
It was major. City manager reported Koski would begin the 2026 paving on Wednesday, so that was right after that meeting. So did they start on Dunbar and Dunsmore? Dunsmore?
They've started grinding.
They
Yep.
did? Okay. Now, and they're still to be completed by August 28th?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, all right, they're gonna be fast and furious. Okay, we did some updates on the curbside recycling program. Staff are currently verifying the address list with sanitation department, working through a list of over 3,000 addresses, cross-referencing against 2,800 properties through the auditor's office. Updating the route maps have been prepared and are under review. The cart delivery lead times approximately 4 weeks from the time of the order, and then label and instructions will be pre-attached upon delivery. Route adjustments will be implemented prior to cart distribution to minimize operational disruptions. So we also talked about the sanitation department. They had a demo of a split rear loader truck on July 31st. So did that still happen?
That actually did not happen, so
Okay.
we're not sure when they're going to reschedule that for.
Okay. So this would be where the vehicle's divided into two compartments, like a 60/40, allowing simultaneous collecting the refuge and the recyclable on the same route. So they're testing that out. They offer a 13-month lease program, which, looking at all options, the cost of leasing is $9,000 a month per truck. But we spend like $15,000 per truck annually on maintenance, so it's like looking at, there you go, Mr. Khan, we're looking at the math. So we'll look at the math on that, but looking at different options. And also that would be a way to do both things at the same time in the truck. Get your recycling and get your trash at the same time. Water pollution control presented the report. The EPA responded to the initial mixing zone study. The response raised questions about the data regarding the Doppler readings. And now we have until the end of August to complete the second mixing zone study. So we have some things that are a little kind of different for the EPA because it's not like every day you're relocating your outfall. So kind of a work in progress. Any more updates on anything on that? Okay. There was a malfunction on the outfall 2 flow meter, and it went to Canada for repairs. Have we got that back yet?
I'm
Think
not
so?
sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Doing preventive maintenance at the plant. The capital improvement plan is still ongoing. GPD has previously committed to delivering initial draft plans, and that was supposed to be later July. They're still working on that. He hoped to receive them in the next few weeks. Our lateral push camera got damaged when they went to inspect a private property. The head got lodged into the pipe. Roto-Rooter assisted to get out. So the repair on that was $6,000. So that was another, and they use that all the time. We have a secondary one. It doesn't do all the bells and whistles as that one, but hate to ask again, is that one fixed?
It's not back yet.
Not back yet, okay. But we do have the backup. Not as good as the first one, but, and Public Works. Again, all the summer stuff still going on. Catch basins, mowing, pothole patching. Jet crews are just about out every single day. They're trying to do the catch basins and manholes, storm and sanitary, in advance of Koski's paving. So next round of tree removals came through council recently, and I had asked, because we were testing out some paint last year, I remember, from Mentor, that was supposed to have better longevity for the striping and all that. We are using that one. It is working good. And I don't know if folks have noted, I did notice on Lake Avenue, a lot of the stripes. So it's looking good. Everything's getting marked. The street sweeper is operational, hoping, knock on wood, today it's still operational. Not even going to ask. Let's see. We talked about the upcoming paving projects. Let's see. Folks wanted to know, and I'll get calls on these. I'm thinking that you may get some calls on these when they talk about paving, because they'll say then they'll come and do an aqua cut or another cut. And how do they determine, is it good quality? GPD inspectors are present throughout the entire paving process. Photographic and video documentation is taken of all curbs and aprons before and after grinding. Material tickets are collected to verify tonnage, and depth gauges are used on the paver. The standard calls for a 3-inch grind and a 3-inch replacement. So we were verifying who's there, who's checked, double checking.
For the repairs, you mean?
For when they do.
When they do the
For
roads?
the roads, yes. I asked about, because we had a question about whether interest earnings could supplement the paving budget, because we know so many roads need to be paved, and how much money it takes to do the roads. Everything has increased. We have not increased or asked for anything more for a paving levy, and we know that levies in general have not been going well on the positive side, voting for them. Clarified, all interest income is consolidated within the general fund and is already factored into the city's budget, which is currently in deficit spending. City manager noted Lake Avenue will be addressed in the coming year as Aqua is planning a water line replacement from West 24th to Route 20, similar in scope to the recent West 19th project. Aqua is expected to contribute to repaving cost, but emphasize doing the road correctly. That would be full curb reconstruction, and the cost would be over $2 million. And our paving levy just brings in $800,000 for the year. So we have a dilemma there. The next meeting of Public Works will be Tuesday, August 25th at 8:30 a.m. right here. And everyone, it's open to the public. Welcome.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Mrs. Mills.
A question about the recycling program, and this might be toward Mr. Timonier. Might this be an opportunity to review the existing recycling program before it rolls out across the city? I mean, like, what have been some of the questions or concerns that have come up that just might be entertained before the full city rolled out? And you don't have to answer that right now, but I'm just.
No, I hesitate because we really haven't had, I mean, it took a little while for everybody to get used to it. But once everybody got used to recycling, we really haven't had too many issues. I think probably the biggest issue is if Thursday night is windy and you have your recycling out, those cans, they don't weigh much because of, recycling just doesn't weigh that much. So, cans blowing open during the night and, stuff scattered. But as far as big issues, there really hasn't been much. The concerns with, only having a 65-gallon container for garbage, not realizing how much of that is actually recyclable material. But I think once everybody kind of got the hang of it, there really hasn't been too many concerns since then. Yeah.
So I'm assuming there will be some literature or some education out there.
Yeah, as we've said, it'll be
the
attached to the
cans.
cans when they're dropped off. Yep.
Okay. The other question I have is it mandatory that every resident gets one?
Yes.
Whether they want one or not?
Yes, that's how we rolled it out the first way, and that's how this will be rolled out.
And why does that have to be the case?
Well,
For example, if somebody is not interested in recycling, they're not
they
gonna
don't
do
have to
it.
recycle, but the bill that is received is for a 65-gallon can for rubbish and a 65-gallon can for recycling, and the fees are based off of that.
Thank you. So if they choose not to participate, they don't.
They don't have to, but they still have to follow the guidelines of how the program works for everyone else. Yep.
Mr. Manager?
I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, one of the things that I have heard is just to remind folks, because if you have like a split can, I just bought a new one, so it's got in my kitchen recycle on one side and trash on the other, because I'm practicing, rinsing out my stuff and doing all that kind of stuff and reading, rinsing everything out, that when you take that to your blue and yellow can, don't throw the bag in there. And
Right. This-
that's what they
everything is
said
a-
happened in the beginning. They do make some bags. I don't know if they're blue that are,
We don't want any bags.
You don't
So,
want the
no,
recycle
no.
bags.
This is a single stream,
Okay.
single stream recycling, which means you don't have to separate plastics and glass and all the different commodities.
Okay.
But they cannot be bagged.
don't use the recycle bag. Okay, all right. That's good to know, because someone told me, oh, you can buy those on Amazon, they're recycle bags. Okay,
Mr. Timonier, if somebody chooses not to participate in the program, they're gonna get a black garbage container. That's their garbage container. If they don't wanna separate their recyclables and so forth,
They can throw it away into that black, but that's
yeah,
gonna
that's
take
it.
up room.
That's
Yep.
it. I mean, they can't put around 5 or 6 bags around that and expect them to get picked up. They got that
Correct.
one container. And I know we had a lady send a picture of her house where she had extra bags and they didn't get picked up. But yeah, so if you're not gonna participate, just be aware that you have one container to fill, that's it, so. Okay. Okay, safety forces. Mr. Guerrero?
Yes, Mr. President. We do have one item that's on for a first reading tonight, and it's concerning the house addresses on properties that have back alley driveways. What we're finding is when you drive down the front of the house that is always marked with an address, it doesn't always look like the back of the house, different color, different shape, and it's really hard for squad car, ambulance, fire truck to count the addresses down when you're driving around the back to get to them. I would imagine for anything, a cab, an Uber, pizza delivery guy, I mean, so we're gonna require house address on the back of the houses to accompany the one on the front. And that's gonna be, that ordinance is 2026142, which is gonna be on for a first reading today.
Okay.
And our next meeting is August 13th.
All right.
Mr. President, just a
Yeah.
comment about that ordinance. I believe when we were discussing this way back when, we actually had a date when they had to be on by. I don't see that in the new ordinance. So you may want to consider a date of where the
Mr.
homeowner has to
Manager, I
complete.
think
wanna say
before
we
we
were doing
gave
4
6
months,
months. I
weren't-
thought we gave 6 months.
Was it 6 or 4?
Does it say that?
I don't see it either in the.
Because letters had to go to do they go to the homeowner and the tenant? If it's a rental or, because a homeowner has to put the numbers on, right?
Is it their responsibility to purchase the numbers?
Yes.
Okay. When we do our first reading, Ms. Cooper, when we do our first reading, could we add, so that when we do our second reading, or will it have to be a separate? Like if we want to add, say, numbers need to be in place by September 30th or whatever, can we just add that to this, or will we have, we could add it and then it'll be typed in on the second reading? Okay.
While we're on that subject, and I'm going to say this is my fault because I told the assistant solicitor to go for it. I don't see the size. It says not less than the size required by this code. What is that?
I
That'll-
think,
Is
I
it
think
3
it
or
was in
4
a different
inches? We
place
looked
of,
it
I think it was
up.
in a different section of 1329, where it had the code, where it had the size that was needed.
So that does not need to be in the ordinance? Okay,
Not if it's listed as a definition somewhere else,
Thank you.
no.
Yeah, and they'll get that letter saying. but we-
Counselor,
We could add a date to this, Mr. Guerrero, when we do it tonight.
at your meeting, was it brought up about that guardrail on East 15th Street at all? Was that?
I don't think that was brought up at the last meeting, no.
We're working with the property owner and Public Works and Thomas Fence on all of that.
Okay, so it is being addressed?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Guerrero. Planning Commission will meet in a couple of weeks. And I reported on them last month. Historic Preservation is meeting next Wednesday, and I haven't received their agenda yet, so. Okay, is there any discussion? We have 7 minutes, so is there any discussion on new business or proposed legislation?
I have something, and it's about the abatements. I do believe these abatements are an excellent tool for redevelopment and major remodeling projects. Those investments improve existing properties and strengthen our neighborhoods. The difficulty I have with this particular request is that it is for a long-term rental property. Our city's rental rate is already approaching 50%, and I believe that is a level we should be cautious about increasing. And for those reasons, I will be voting no on that tonight.
Mr. President, I also had a question on the abatement thing, and I will be voting yes for the abatement, but I do think we should be able to read the applications. I mean, when I saw that one, I couldn't read any of those signatures, and I also am guilty of poor penmanship when it comes to writing, but I think maybe on the application, it should be print and sign. I mean, because I read, I don't see that in this packet, but whatever I read that on, I couldn't tell who was applying for any of those.
Okay. You know, we have this abatement discussion all the time, and I'm just wondering, what is I know we talked about 7 years, 100%, we don't like this, but we don't like it for out-of-towners, we don't like it for this. What is for example, on this particular abatement, what would be the difference? How much would the city collect, say, if we were abating for 75% or 50%? Do you have an idea? I mean, some of you vote no on these abatements, so I'm assuming that you have a reason behind it. So I guess I'm asking you, how much, right now, the city will collect no taxes for 7 years. Say we go to 75% or 50%, how much will the city collect for the next 7 years?
Mr. President, when you use the pronoun "you," are you talking about me in particular, or is it
I'm talking
open
to the councilors.
or is it open to anyone to
It's
respond
open to
to
anyone to
question?
respond. So I said, we have people who vote no on these abatements all the time, and I'm wondering what that vote is based on. So when I say you, I'm saying my fellow councilors who don't support these, what is your vote based on? Maybe you can give us some information that would,
Mr. President?
yes.
I do support the abatements, but I think that would be hard to determine unless you know what the actual tax is going to be ahead of time.
Well, you got a property value.
But is that established when the house is finished?
It's usually established after the house is finished.
That's what
Yes.
Yeah, but that, like on this.
But I mean, we've given out ranges before, and as I've mentioned before, the city, as far as what we collect in property tax, compared to the other political subdivisions that are part of property tax, ours is a very, very low number.
And and like I said, I'm just, because every abatement we have, it comes up that there seems to be an excuse or a concern, I guess would be a better word, about the abatement, but it's never based on. I don't
So,
think it's based on anything, it's just,
so
I don't like them.
I seldom ever make a decision without it being based on something.
Okay.
For me.
Okay.
And I have questioned 100% for 7 years since starting council because I believe it should be a win-win situation where the city can collect some taxes to pay for our services, and it can also benefit the applicant. So I see that incentivizing, whether it's reconstruction or home purchase, all of that is good. I've never believed we should simply rubber stamp every single abatement that comes through at 100% for 7 years. I've said it before, we should have some sort of tiered process, whether it was for-profit or nonprofit, if they're gonna simply flip it for-profit. I mean, there's so many things that could be considered that we're not taking into consideration. I've also said that our application should probably ask for additional information so that we're better informed before we just willy-nilly just vote yes for every single abatement that comes through. So yes, my reluctance is because it is just so open without many considerations for what the city might be losing and what we could also gain in addition to approving abatement for the applicants. So it's a complicated thing, but I certainly think we should be far more thoughtful when we're voting to approve them.
Mr.
Okay.
Mr.
And
President?
I would just say that I think to accuse the counselors of not being thoughtful or doing things willy-nilly is not really fair.
So it's one
And-
thing for you to ask for our opinion, and then you go back and criticize the things that
I'm
we
not
say.
criticizing-
So if you're asking
Okay.
for our
Go ahead,
opinion
Mr.
or
Guerrero.
to
What
respond
did you
to the
want to say?
question, then we share our response.
Go ahead,
I
Mr.
wanted to
Guerrero.
say that Ms. Holman brings up a lot of really good points. However, in this one specific, this is 15th Street is in my ward,
Yeah.
and, which I've lived in my entire life, and this has been a vacant lot for, I mean, there's never been anything there but high weeds, especially when that Harbor Yard was going strong. Believe me, that was not a desirable place to live. And in the win-win, someone's building a house there is a win for our community. And after the 7 years is over, it's a pretty nice house. I'm assuming that's going to be a $2,000-3,000 tax bill for whoever the owner is at the end of the 7 years. So this one specific time, I'm 100% in favor of the abatement.
Mr. President, as I've mentioned several times too, this being a long-term rental, the people occupying the house will have income tax. So it's income tax we've never collected on the property before. They'll be paying into the sewer, they'll be paying into the garbage. So there is wins for
Thank you.
the community when a new construction takes place.
Mr. Guerrero?
Mr. Guerrero mentions that that neighborhood is changing because, like you say, the railroad is gone.
Right.
And I'm sure that.
There's a house across the street, there's that one,
Yeah.
and if you go up that little alley, you know, I see a lot of things cleared out that would be on the corner of that little alley in 14th. I'm assuming somebody's gonna build a house there too.
I said, I'm sure that's going to spur development in that neighborhood. So,
Mr. President?
yes.
I did, Mr. Guerrero, I did drive by, because whenever we have one on, I drive by and check it out, see what it looks like and all that. And you're right, and then I went on the auditor's site, and before it was just a parcel of land.
Right.
Yeah, and so, and I think, did they take something,
Well, that's the guardrail she's talking about.
Okay.
That's where that guardrail was, and I'm not exactly sure what happened to it, but I'm sure it's gonna get replaced. Right at the,
15th?
East 15th on the, like the west end of East 15th before you go up the hill to Harbor Avenue.
But it's all clean, it looks cleaned up, it looks really nice and neat and cute. So, yeah, somebody would be living there, shopping, maybe going out to dinner, spending money. So before it was just empty land. So I'm in agreement as well.
Okay, thank you. All right, we come to 7 o'clock, so it's time for us to begin our regular council meeting. At this time, if everyone would please stand for the prayer and the pledge, and stay standing for a moment of silence, if you would. Heavenly Father, we ask you to let your inspiration precede this council's action, and that all of us present here today, in your assistance, further us, so that in every word and work of ours, may it take its beginning from you, and so begun, may through you reach its completion. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stay standing.
Mr. President, if I might, on behalf of Judge DiGiacomo and Court Administrator and Clerk of Court Tanya Amato and the staff of the Ashtabula Municipal Court, we ask you to take this opportunity to observe a moment of silence in recognition of the unexpected and tragic passing of Judy Hanneman, Ashtabula Municipal Court Deputy Clerk, on July 29th, 2026. The judge went on to say, our deepest condolences go out to Judy's family, friends, and all who knew and loved her. Her dedication and service to the court will be remembered, and she will be greatly missed. On a personal note, I've known Judy since she worked at the county clerk's office and at the municipal court for the past 3 years. She's one of those people who comes to work with a good attitude every day. There was never anything that was too much to ask of her. She always did it with a smile, And if she didn't know the answer, she found the answer. She made work a joy, and she is greatly missed both by her work family and I know her daughter and son-in-law and grandchildren.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Kuzma. Ms. Milberg, will you call the roll, please?
Ms. Holman,
Present.
Mrs. Mills,
Here.
Mrs. DiGiacomo,
Here,
Mr. Guerrero,
Here.
Mr. Simeone,
Here.
Mr. Roskovich,
Here.
Mr. Timonier,
Here.
Ms. Cooper,
Here.
Mr. Khan.
Here.
Thank you. We have no one absent. To be excused, we have met the Sunshine Law legislation. At this time, we would entertain a motion to go into executive session at the conclusion of our meeting to discuss the purchase or sale of property, at which time we will gonna come out of executive session, no action will be taken. Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll move.
Second.
Mr. Guerrero moves and Ms. Holman seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Oh, no, that's a roll call vote. I'm sorry. I apologize. Ms. Milberg, will you roll call, please?
Mrs. DiGiacomo,
yes.
Mr. Guerrero,
Yes.
Mr. Simeone,
Yes.
Mr. Roskovich,
Yes,
Ms. Holman,
Yes.
Mrs. Mills.
Yes.
thank you. We will go into executive session by a 6-0 vote. We will now proceed with the reading of the legislation.
Excuse me, are we going to finish the pre-council meeting?
We only had what? Legislation for second reading and discussion for the good of the order. Is there something you want to do in one of those things?
There is.
Okay, we will take, when we resume, Ms. Milberg will be at the reading of the legislation. Okay, go ahead.
So was there anything, was the new business proposed legislation, were we through with that? Is there anything anybody else wanted to bring up on that?
Perhaps, I'm not sure. I sent for about the fourth time, draft legislation for Thriving Communities Commission. And there was a question about it, and it said that it was supposed to come up in today's meeting, but I didn't know if that was expected to happen at pre-council or council. I'm at a loss. And I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to, or.
Well, I just wanted to make sure, I have something for the good of the order, but I didn't want to jump ahead if there was still things that were left unattended.
Well, I wouldn't consider it old business. I don't, it's unfinished business. But I didn't know what the plan was to have the conversation, whether it was going to continue online or whether we were going to have it tonight. I don't know.
It's up to, I think that's going to be a long, I imagine that could be a long conversation, and I'm wondering if we want to save that for a night, maybe when we have more time. All right, nobody has an opinion on that? So maybe we could do that more justice when we have more time at a meeting.
So that's fine with me, but I still wonder if the legislation went out to council, is there a particular reason why it wasn't included in the agenda for today?
Because it hasn't, well, it hasn't come out of a committee. You're bringing it up. Was that legislation written by our legal department? I asked that question.
I'm sorry, Mr. President, I thought I answered. It was reviewed, Ms. Colvin reviewed it. It wasn't written by her, but she did partake in the process, yes, sir.
Okay. So I mean, either you or Catherine wrote that resolution.
No.
It wasn't a resolution.
Yeah, it did. It had a number on top.
The legislation
Proposal.
was reviewed by Ms. Colgan, and it's approved as to legal form.
That's what I guess I was asking.
So,
And so then it was coming back to council for review and discussion. So
it
that's
would
why
be,
it would,
yes.
yeah.
I wasn't on the email string, so
Okay.
I don't know what the
Yeah, you-
status was. But if a counselor wanted it added to an agenda, then a request has to be made to Stacy specifically, or the clerk of council, I'm sorry, to add something to an agenda. Otherwise, I mean, it comes from either the city manager, the finance director, myself, or a committee or a council member. If she's not specifically asked to put something on an agenda, then she has no way of knowing that somebody wants it on the agenda for a first reading and then a second reading. So if you want it added to the August 17th agenda for a first reading, absolutely now would be the time to make that request.
And would there be a second needed for that?
I
The
would-
council decide, we decide whether or not first or second. Because this is nothing new. This has been in the formation for quite some time, and the draft has been brought to council before, and council has provided feedback, and it has gone back to multiple iterations. And this last iteration took into consideration council's recommendations, and the input was included. So I thought it was ready, but if there was more questions, then I'm happy to entertain those questions. I just need to know when. Not just me, and the ad hoc committee would want to know as well.
Well, I would just say, I know it's gone back and forth, and we haven't really heard anything about it for a couple of months. And so, I just sort of thought it was, had gone away, but then I see it came back. So that's, fine, but you mentioned that there was things mentioned that didn't, that were changed, but I have to say, things were mentioned, and they still seem to be appearing in this document, so.
So when we can go back and review the notes if we need to, but the last iteration, I think, Mr. Timonier, you asked if the changes had been included, and I said, sure, and you said, can we take a look at it? And I said, absolutely, there's not a problem. So the assistant solicitor took the comments and came up with this last iteration.
I don't think I've seen the last iteration. I wasn't included.
You weren't
on the-
included
yeah.
on the email.
So, Mr. President, if
I
I could
thought
just
so,
make
yeah.
a suggestion, because it does sound like there needs to be a little bit of time to talk about it publicly. Maybe start your 17th meeting at 5 o'clock and dedicate that first half hour towards that and deciding whether you guys want to bring it out of committee to, or to have it for first vote, or
5 or
This
5:30?
is another work session.
5:30, yeah. Okay.
It'd be
when do we
5:30.
start? Well, I come over here at 5:30, that's why I said that, yeah.
All right, we could do that. That might give it time to deal with it then. And then maybe by then, you and Ms. Cooper and Ms. Colgan will have time to look at it also, because you weren't included on the email. I know you've seen it, so you didn't need to be included on the email.
Mr. Timonier, that was an oversight on my part
okay.
then.
That's fine.
No, Ms. Colgan, has seen it.
Okay,
That's all we need.
all right.
And
Okay,
Mr.
so-
President, just to kind of let you know how, I guess, the soup is made behind the scenes, it's not uncommon for myself or for another person to try to draft the legislation, but it always does go to the solicitor's office, which 9 times out of 10 on mine, they tweak something because I got it wrong, and then they were the ones that approved it. But it's not uncommon for individuals to write the legislation for,
Send it there, yeah.
to send it to the solicitor's
Okay.
office.
So we'll do that, we'll begin that at 5:30 on the 17th. Okay.
So I have something for the good of the order.
Go ahead.
You ready for that? Yep. As council members, we all receive calls, emails, text messages, and have conversations with residents. Those conversations have led me to ask a simple question. Are we delivering value where our residents notice it most? The two concerns I hear more than any other are the condition of properties and the condition of our roads. Residents want neighborhoods that are clean, well-maintained, and inviting. They want to see continued progress in neighborhood maintenance. They also want roads that are safe and in good repair, because they drive them every day. These may not be the most exciting topics we discuss, but they have a tremendous impact on quality of life. They affect neighborhood pride, property value, safety, and how people feel about living in Ashtabula. I appreciate the work our staff does every day to serve our community. At the same time, I think it is our responsibility as a council to regularly evaluate our priorities and ensure they reflect the needs and concerns we hear from the people we represent. As we make decisions, establish priorities, and prepare future budgets, I believe we should continually ask ourselves whether we are focusing our time, energy, and resources on the issues that have the greatest impact on our community. Our residents experience local government every day. They experience it when they drive to work, walk through their neighborhood, or welcome family and friends to their home. They notice the condition of our roads. They notice the appearance of our neighborhoods. Those everyday experiences shape their confidence in the direction of our city. I'm raising this because I believe it is healthy for us to periodically step back and ask whether our priorities align with the priorities of the people we serve. I'd be interested in hearing from my fellow council members. Are these the same concerns you're hearing from your residents? And if so, how should we shape our priorities going forward?
Mr. President?
Yeah.
Can I say a few things on that?
Yeah, go right ahead.
So I think you all know that the two things that we always talk about are property and roads. I would encourage you at any time to take a day and ride with our two inspectors and then tell me they're not doing their jobs.
No, I didn't say they
I'm
weren't.
just putting it out there. I report to your committee the amount of citations we issue, the work that they do. Yes, it's not always easy to get a person to clean up their property. Doesn't help also when we get judgments for penalties of $5 at the court, which just happened on Allen Avenue. It doesn't help when we try to address fireworks and an issue of $5 penalty is applied to the 19 people we cited for fireworks. It's actually kind of embarrassing and insulting to my staff. So there are a multitude of angles that need to be addressed when it comes to how we get things done. The other thing I would encourage you to do is look at the funding that we received from the paving levy and how much we actually pave every year. The grants that we go after, the money that I always find to be able to do more and more. And yes, we've had a terrible 2 winters that have really crippled a lot of the roads that we thought we were going to get longer out of. But organizing that with our utilities, organizing that with ODOT and all of the other players that go into the different things that we have to assume and work with to try to get our paving scheduled every year. I would love to be able to, as we do, knock on people's doors and say, hey, this needs to be cleaned up, and they immediately clean it up. If you have a secret sauce on how that works, please share it with us. We'd love to know. But you all hear me say a lot of times, my staff has done everything they can and it has moved down the road. We have to rely on other departments if we can't get it done to make sure that it gets done. So there's a lot of challenges that go into it. As you know, my office is wide open and right in with Planning and Community Development, so I interact with them daily. Most of you send me properties daily, and I would say 90% of the time, we already have that property on our list. We already know about it. I send you here's where it's at in the enforcement list. So, for the staff that we have, they're aware of a lot of the issues. And then, conversely on that, I continue to bring you tax abatements for people that believe in this community and are building new houses and are remodeling their houses and are putting up new businesses and having 15,000 people show up on a weekend to enjoy our community. The millions of dollars we're spending down here on Main Avenue, and the hopes of the cleanup that goes along now that we're putting it in the hands of the building owners. We have done a lot of work down here. Now it's on you to do the rest of it, plus giving money out to those building owners to be able to revamp their property. So I never shy away from the negatives we have. We do have a lot of properties that need to be cleaned up. This one on East 23rd Street, we're still trying to coordinate with the contractor and the solicitor's office, my office, on how we are going to find $7,000 to go clean up somebody else's property. So, you know, those are the challenges we face, and, you know, I think on a day-to-day basis, we do a good job of combating them. I wish we would get more help from the residents because, you know, for everybody that posts the different things on Facebook about what the city doesn't do, if we were able to do that daily about what we encounter, it would be a different story. You know, because we can certainly step up and say X, Y, and Z aren't doing their job either. So I hear you. I don't know of a year that I've been here where those haven't been the two top priorities of us, all the staff. You know, from the police department, fire department, planning, community development, water pollution gets involved, public works gets involved, sanitation gets involved. Housing is a constant, whether it's neighbors fighting or whether it's actually issues with property. That consumes probably 80% of our day.
Mr. President, if I might, I just want to point out that the frustration that the city manager expressed in terms of the fines that were levied for the fireworks. Those fines came from a visiting judge who did not, giving him the benefit of the doubt, understand the impact that those fireworks have every year on the citizens of Ashtabula. There are several of those cases that have not been resolved because Judge DiGiacomo is back on the bench. And it's entirely possible I'm gonna have to take some of those to trial because they don't like the idea of a $750 fine. I don't like the idea of you risking burning your neighbors' houses down, so there you go. That's where we are. In terms of property inspections and cleaning up properties and making the city look nicer, I would point out to council that you do the budget every year. There are 2 building inspectors who work full-time inspecting every rental in this city. They're the 2 that give people notices if their grass isn't kept, if their house isn't kept, if there's junk vehicles on their property. 2 guys and 1 car. So they ride together all the time. They can't even ride separately because they only have 1 vehicle to share. Right. Before that, they didn't even have a car.
No, we've had 2 vehicles. They just recently were.
Right. So that will leave them 1 vehicle. They're going to have the Explorer still?
We've had a new Explorer for them already.
Okay. So they'll have 2 vehicles now so they can go separate places. But you have 2 building inspectors and 1 assistant solicitor to handle all of the building complaints in the entire city. And we are becoming more aggressive than we ever have been with housing code violations. We're not only citing them criminally, we're citing them civilly. But we can only move as fast as the court process will allow us to move. And part of that is based on the evidence that we can obtain. And again, that comes from 2 guys. So we all feel the frustration that buildings aren't safer, that properties aren't nicer. We wish there were ways we could work faster.
So I guess that's my question. As a council, can we make this a priority with budgeting so that we can do more?
Is that the budget?
I think what it comes down to, as you know, the last year or this year, we're going to deficit spend. So what are we not going to do to be able to bring more staff on for that.
I would just, recently, we only had one building inspector.
So we've had a
Now we-
housing inspector, and then we recently, this year, have hired a code enforcement officer. So, and they did have 2 cars until recently, and then they've been,
So I mean,
Yeah, so-
we are working towards
Yes.
that. Paving
Now,
wise,
having-
we've had our paving levy, what, maybe 6, 7 years. So we're doing the best we can with that, and like you say, you supplement it by getting grants and,
Working with
extra
other
money,
utilities
working
and-
with the
yeah.
utilities and so forth. So I think we're doing these things.
granted, it's not happening fast enough. I mean, but we have to, we do have to live within those budgets to get it. And when you have the bad winters that we had these last 2 years with the freeze thaw, it certainly doesn't help. But these have been, big focuses. I don't remember when they haven't been a focus, so.
That's what I think, since I've been here, yeah.
Mr. President,
And additionally, as we're working through I'm sorry to interrupt, Ms. Mills, but this is something we've been talking about in the office and with the solicitor's office as well. As we pass this new zoning, which is going to be extremely important for how, the city develops, having a zoning officer, zoning inspector could be very important to us, not only for the zoning, but then we've talked about, is there other roles where they can assist with the road cuts and different things that the utilities do. So, that's another salary that we would like to explore. And as we start to work down the budget, the finance director just put out a memo to the departments about submitting budgets by the end of August, I believe, right? So we're starting to put together the budgets now for next year. And, as we look at the income, it's going to decide what on the expense side we can and cannot do.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes.
can I ask Mr. Manager, is it more lucrative or maybe not? How they used to do where we don't have a city engineer anymore.
Correct.
So when they had a city engineer and then, say I want my road paved or it's time for it to get done or whatever, and then it's assessed on, for the homeowner, on their property taxes. I mean, I know that's a lot of, and by the time and are they gonna pay or whatever, but we don't have a city engineer. But is that way, do you get more done?
I mean, you could, but when we talk about assessment, so the way that used to work when the city had an engineering department, there were several staff members. So during the winter times, they would be in Jefferson pulling deeds, making sure what those frontages were, figuring out the calculations so that they knew exactly what the assessment on each property would be based on the frontage of the road. Then you're going after bonds because it's not going to be one payment by the homeowner. It's going to be over a certain amount of years. So
Right.
now you're accruing debt, which now you have to add interest on top of that. So it's going to cost you more to do assessments for that. And if council would ever think of that, I think the first thing you would do would be repeal the paving levy. There's no way that I would support doing assessments and a paving levy.
Like one or the other, but it just, in a time where levies are not popular.
Well, I mean, we have been
What
lucky.
if our paving levy didn't pass?
Well, I would say, when you
God
talk about,
forbid.
we have been fortunate that our levies have been passing, so I think that says something as well. Obviously, paving is the most visible thing you can do.
Right.
And we try to do the best at it.
Just throwing that out, looking at, is that an option? But I know, like with the price of, when we contract out and use GPD and all that kind of stuff, that
If
cost.
The cost of having your own engineering department, we couldn't do it. And the training that goes along with it, we
Yeah.
could not do it.
That's why
That's why we don't have
we're
it.
doing what we're doing now. Okay, thank you.
And we had it in the past because these rules didn't exist. The requirements for a building department didn't exist when we had the old building department.
But that does bring up a good point. If we think about the money that we have paid GDP over, I don't know, 5 decade, could we not have our own engineering department?
No. Again, the certification, I mean, you can look at the difficulties that the county building department has had obtaining a chief building officer. They recently have one that was that they actually was an employee within their department that they sent to school and got educated to do it because for years they could not attract. They even had a contract with Lake County where their building official was coming here 2 days a week. And that was a nightmare, how all that worked. So it's not easy to have, if you're gonna have a building department, then you need to have electrical inspectors, plumbing inspectors, and those types of people do not do the specs for what we need to bid stuff out. Like all the work that's going on at the wastewater treatment plant, nobody has that broad of a education where they can hit all of those different specialties to be able to do bid specs.
I have a question. So if we were to charge with rentals, if we were to charge higher fees, could we afford another inspector?
We would have to do the calculation, but I think we charge right now $75 for a rental permit, which I think is in line with many of the other communities around us. I mean, it's a way to generate revenue.
I just think it's a puzzle that we can solve. I mean, we're a whole group here, that if we all work together, that we could come up with some solutions. I really do believe that.
Well, the solution is, as far as what I and the finance director will tell you, here's the amount of money you have.
Right.
What do we not want to do and what do we want to do? Because we are definitely at the point where it's going to be what don't you want to do to accomplish something else.
Okay, I guess we'll move on with our agenda then. Ms. Milberg, will you read us tonight's legislation, please?
Ordinance number 2026-136, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a community reinvestment area tax incentive agreement with River and Rail Development LLC for tax abatement at 100% for 7 years for new residential dwellings located at 725 East 15th Street, Ashtabula, Ohio 44004. Ordinance number 2026-137, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with AM Ford for the purchase of a Ford Maverick. Ordinance number 2026-138, an ordinance acknowledging the hiring of Emily Busanich as victim advocate in the city solicitor's office and approving additional paid vacation leave. Ordinance number 2026-139, an ordinance enacting adoption of the City of Ashtabula Budgetary General Fund Reserve Policy. Ordinance number 2026-140, an ordinance to make supplemental changes to appropriations in the 205 State, County, Municipal Roads, Public Works Fund listed on Exhibit A for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Ashtabula, State of Ohio, for the period January 1st through December 31st, 2026. For first reading, ordinance number 2026-141, an ordinance repealing existing codified ordinance section 1329.03 for the purpose of adopting a new section 1329.03. Ordinance number 2026-142, an ordinance enacting replacement codified ordinance section 1329.03, placement of numbers on buildings. And for second reading, ordinance number 2026-134, an ordinance repealing in its entirety existing codified ordinance chapter 761.99 entitled Sale of Tobacco Products to Persons Under 21 Years Old Penalty to impose new fines and criteria for license suspension. Ordinance number 2026-135, an ordinance adopting new codified ordinance, Chapter 761.99, entitled Sale of Tobacco Products to Persons Under 21 Years Old Penalty.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Do we need to add the date for that 142 of when it would need to be enacted?
Okay.
I was just going to throw out November 1st to
November 1st?
just, give enough time to.
All right, so we'll add that to the, do we need a voice vote on adding November 1st? Or would that just come out of the Safety Forces Committee?
It's for first reading, Mr. President, so a voice vote would be fine to
Okay.
add that it take effect, that the
Numbers.
have to be on November 1st.
Number 1st, okay. Mr. Guerrero moves, I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So we will add November, Ms. Milberg, will you add November 1st to that reading? Okay.
Mr. President,
Yeah,
who sends those letters out? Is it PCD?
I don't think a decision was ever made on who will send them out, but we'll figure it out.
So since there are a lot of rentals there, because pretty much most of those alleyways are probably in Ward 4.
We can
And-
give you door hangers if you'd like to go, door to door.
Well, I'm over there a lot, and so when I get complaints, like I said, I'll be riding my bike in the alleyway, and I'm just counting houses because there are no numbers. So this will be great for different issues and problems or whatever. This has been needed for a long time, but when there's rentals, I didn't know if, and there's a lot of out-of-town, owners too. So will the tenants get them and the owners, just so that,
We'll figure all that out. Just get the legislation passed and we'll.
and what's the
take care of it.
date for it? November 1st? Okay.
See what date that falls on.
okay.
Mr. President,
Yes,
and maybe this is for Madam Solicitor. Ordinance number 2026-138, considering we just had the conversation where Mr. Timonier was saying that he doesn't know why that was missed, that she doesn't have the paid leave, should...
I-
Yes, you might. Go ahead. Unless you wanna keep going.
Ms. Holman, I did get a message on this, so she had a break in service, and apparently the language says it has to be contiguous service. I don't think we've ever, so in other words, the person worked at the county, maybe was unemployed or left the county a month before taking a job here, but then that service was not recognized because of that break in service, which, if that's the language, I'll look at changing that language in the
So-
non-union benefit.
Mr. President, if she had a break in service, it was a week.
That's what I thought.
It was minimal. So, I mean, she was still getting paychecks from the county when we hired her. So if that was the reason she wasn't given it, then this ordinance is essential. She deserves it.
okay. Could we have a motion to approve the order of tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Mrs. Mills moves and Mr. Simeon seconds. Any discussion?
Mr. President?
Yeah.
Just because I did make the comment of what are we not going to do in order to do, I know you have this new vehicle that's on the list for almost $30,000. So if you recall, earlier this year, we were able to find some used police vehicles from Geauga, so we're not buying new police vehicles. There's also a couple pieces of equipment we are not going to buy in Public Works. That's how we are affording the vehicle.
Thank you, Mr. Timonero. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Tonight's agenda is approved by a 6-0 vote. There's no special items, communications. Any citizen who would like to address council may do so at this time. Please state your name and some kind of address, and if you would limit your comments to 5 minutes.
Hi, my name's Aaron Burnett. I live in 4904 Dunsmore, so thank you guys for paving my street. Really, it's been in long need, and we've been there for 3 years. We bought the house just recently, and, thank you. It's Mr. Timonier Appreciate that. I also wanted to kind of bring to light that Emily Busanik, if I'm pronouncing that right, she's been a lot of help at the courthouse. We had to deal with a lot of things that we're not used to dealing with, being homeowners, and she's kind of been a mountain of knowledge, and, you know, she's printing out flyers and doing all sorts of stuff that can kind of educate someone who, you know, recently purchased a home and doesn't really know how things work. So she's been kind of a light in the shadows. I just kind of wanted to bring that up tonight. Thank you.
Welcome to Ashtabula.
Thank you. Thank you for those comments. We appreciate them.
Welcome to being a homeowner. Thank you.
Geraldine Scruggs, or you can call me G. First of all, I thank the citizen that was concerned about me not being here for a month, and they did call to find out if I was okay. I'm back. Believe me, nobody's gonna run me from the council meeting. That's what I vote for. That's my privilege. Secondly, I would like to thank Jane. The 2 letters that you read, I looked over your last meeting, and that first letter you read about the garbage cans and all that, you hit that nail right on the head. Regardless, I heard the comments, everybody's entitled to your comments, okay? But we as citizens, we talk to various people we feel that would bring the issues back to the floor. And the issues will not be addressed unless they're actually brought to the floor. We can say we live in a perfect world outside of these 4 walls, but that's not true, you guys. We as citizens, we do have complaints. And we want to listen to the people, address it with the people that would listen to us. I thank you for what you just said tonight about whatever, and I thank the mayor for telling us how he spends the money. I don't go up there and sit behind him and check out everything he's supposed to do. But the fact that he's telling us, you brought it up because the citizens are concerned where the money's going. That's what a council meeting is for, you guys. Get the citizen complaint, get it on the floor, and get some answers so everybody understands how our city is being ran and how our money is being spent. The last thing I'm gonna say is this, and this is a very personal thing with me. Please give me the time, I don't wanna be called. I've been coming to this meeting for probably 6 months since I retired. And one of the things I'm seeing as councilmen and women, the disrespect. Yes, the disrespect of each other. Go home, perhaps tonight, and go back 2 or 3 of your, go back on YouTube or whatever, and look at the meetings, how when certain people talk, people are rolling their eyes, people are sitting back with their hands like this. We gotta respect each other, y'all. We have a right to have our opinion. You don't have to agree with me, but I have a right to my opinion. So let's kind of respect it. If you don't like what I'm saying, just sit there and look straight ahead. Don't roll your eyes, don't sit back. I didn't come up and waste my gas and time for that, y'all. Let's be adults.
My name is Michael Wagner. I have a question in regards to the roads. Are they gonna be doing anything with Spencer Avenue? It's totally,
I don't,
are they on the list, anything?
I don't believe it was on the list for this year, but I believe the council person brought up Spencer when we were going over roads. I'd have to look and see. Yep.
Also, in regards to the recycling, are they gonna force people to use both cans? Or are you still able to use your own garbage can?
Mr. President, sir, when we roll out the program, you will have to use the cans that we provide.
You can't use your own then?
That's correct.
Okay, that's what it was. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. President?
Yes.
That just reminded me. So there was one thing that came up when we rolled out the cans was what do we do with the current cans that we have? And I think we did take, I'll have to double check with the foreman at sanitation, but I believe we did take some back. That is one thing that we should consider, what if people just want to get rid of them, how we get rid of those cans. Yep.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'd like to thank Dee here. We had a slim pickings for we were cleaning up for Wine and Walleye, and I saw her in Walmart, and we were chatting, and I said, well, you know, if you want to help, we're cleaning on this day, and, you know, or if you want to come to the Geo, we're doing the back to school on this day or whatever, and God bless her, she came down, and her and I, we swept and we cleaned, and I want to thank you very much. It was a pleasure to work with her, so now you're on my list for recruitment. But we have lots of things like that, and so when we do that, like, you know, tell what you don't know, you know, it's our job to educate folks, whether it's the budget or what we have going on. If people are able to help, the more the merrier. But thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I'm not here just to support Ward 3 where I live. Let me make sure everybody knows that. I'm here to support the city.
Thank you, Ms. Griggs. Anyone else who would like to address council? Seeing no one, we will go on with the approval of our minutes.
July 20th, 2026 pre-council meeting was called to order at 6 p.m. by President Roskovich. Present, Mr. Roskovich, Mr. Simeone, Mr. Guerrero, Mrs. Mills, Ms. Holman, Mrs. DiGiacomo. Officers present, City Manager Timonier, City Solicitor Cooper, Finance Director Khan, and Clerk of Council Milberg.
May I have a motion to waive the reading of the minutes?
So moved.
Mr. Guerrero moves, Mrs.
Second.
Mills seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will waive the reading by a 6-0 vote.
July 20th, 2026 regular council meeting was called to order at 7 p.m. by President Roskovich. Mr. Guerrero offered the opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance was recited. Present, Mr. Roskovich, Mr. Simeone, Mr. Guerrero, Mrs. Mills, Ms. Holman, Mrs. DiGiacomo. Officers present were City Manager Timonier, City Solicitor Cooper, Finance Director Khan, and Clerk of Council Milberg.
I will move that we waive the reading of the minutes in their entirety. Is there a second?
Second.
Mrs. Mills seconds. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will waive the reading of the minutes by a 6-0 vote. Will you read us tonight's legislation for passage?
Ordinance number 2026-136, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a community reinvestment area tax incentive agreement with River and Rail Development LLC for tax abatement at 100% for 7 years for new residential dwellings located at 725 East 15th Street, Ashtabula, Ohio, 44004. Ordinance number 2026-137, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with AM Ford for the purchase of a Ford Maverick. Ordinance number 2026-138, an ordinance acknowledging the hiring of Emily Busanich as victim advocate in the city solicitor's office and approving additional paid vacation leave. Ordinance number 2026-139, an ordinance enacting adoption of the City of Ashtabula Budgetary General Fund Reserve Policy. Ordinance number 2026-140, an ordinance to make supplemental changes to appropriations in the 205 State, County, Municipal Roads, Public Works Fund listed on Exhibit A for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Ashtabula, State of Ohio for the period January 1st through December 31st, 2026.
Thank you, Ms. Milberg. Is there a motion to handle tonight's items in consent agenda format?
No.
Which one would you like separated, Ms.?
2026-136.
Okay. So we will, and then can we, then we'll do the next. So let's do 2026-136. Can we have a motion to waive the reading of that legislation in its entirety?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Holman moves and Mrs. DiGiacomo seconds. Any discussion? All in favor of waiving the reading of the legislation in its entirety?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will do so by a 6-0 vote. Is there a motion to waive the charter requirements of 2 readings?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Holman moves and Ms. Mills seconds. Any discussion? Yeah.
Did we not read that last meeting? Isn't this the second reading for that?
The tax abatement?
136?
Last week, or I had asked for it
You
last
asked
week,
for it,
correct.
so-
Yes.
But that wasn't a reading.
No.
All right.
Okay. So we have a motion to waive the second reading by Ms. Holman and Mrs. Mills. Is there any discussion on waiving the second reading? I will just say again, I don't know. Now we hear tonight, we don't want to approve a tax abatement because it's a rental property, but if somebody came into Ashtabula and wanted to build an apartment building, would we waive the taxes on that or not? On Chestnut, was that Chestnut Apartments, were those tax abated? Okay, so if you build a whole bunch of apartments, we'll abate your taxes, but if you build one, we're not gonna abate your taxes. It seems to be what we're saying here. So, like I said, anyway, any other discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes,
I mean, I know we had Bruce Slasher of the Board of Realtors here at the June Economic Development meeting, and he did note, and I think especially in this time where prices are up to build, gas, utilities, groceries, you know, he stated it's a good driver for growth, economic growth, and for the need that we have for rentals, and saying with all these, you know, we have all these homes that we need to fix up, to see these new builds when the cost of everything is going up. There's a need there, and I drove through there, and it's cleaned up and it looks good, so I'm happy about that.
thank you, Mrs. Mills. And we will point out, this week, the interest rates on homes went up to almost 7%. And I remember Saturday morning on Station Avenue, when they were telling us about the new houses being built, the banker from Cleveland pretty much said, the tax abatement makes them affordable for people. Otherwise, it makes them like they're paying rent as opposed to buying a house. So, I guess we'll just continue this in this fashion. Ms. Milberg, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. DiGiacomo?
No.
Mr. Guerrero?
Yes.
Mr. Simeone?
Yes.
Mr. Roskovich?
Yes,
Ms. Holman?
No.
Mrs. Mills?
Yes.
that item has passed by a 4-2 vote. And now
Mr.
we will
President?
waive, yes.
That was just to waive the reading,
Yeah, yeah, and
waive
now
the
we're
2
gonna
readings.
vote on the adoption of the legislation. So now we will vote on the adoption of the legislation. Will
Mrs.
you-
DiGiacomo?
Yes.
No.
Mr. Guerrero?
Yes.
Mr. Simeone?
Yes.
Mrs. Mills?
Yes.
Mr. Roskovich?
Yes,
Ms. Holman?
No.
that item 26-136 has passed by a 4-2 vote. Thank you. All right, is there a motion to handle 137 through 140 in consent agenda format?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Holman moves and Mrs. DeGiacomo seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will handle these items by a 6-0 vote in consent agenda. Is there a motion to waive the reading on these items of legislation?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Holman moves and Mrs. DeGiacomo seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will waive the reading of the legislation by a 6-0 vote. Is there a motion to waive the charter requirements of 2 readings? Mr.
Second.
Mr. Guerrero moves, Mrs. Mills seconds. Any discussion? Will you please call the roll, Ms. Milberg?
Mrs. DiGiacomo?
Yes.
Mr. Guerrero?
Yes.
Mr. Simeone?
Yes.
Mr. Roskovich?
Yes.
Ms. Holman?
Yes.
Mrs. Mills?
Yes.
We will waive 2 readings by a 6-0 vote. And now we will vote on the adoption of the legislation. Would you please call the roll again?
Mr. Guerrero?
Yes.
Mr. Simeone? Yes. Mr. Roskovich?
Yes.
Ms. Holman?
Yes.
Mrs. Mills?
Yes.
Mrs. DiGiacomo?
Yes.
We will wait, those items have passed by a 6-0 vote. Thank you. We will now go on to items for first reading. Ms. Milberg?
Ordinance number 2026-141, an ordinance repealing existing codified ordinance section 1329.03 for the purpose of adopting a new section 1329.03. Ordinance number 2026-142, an ordinance enacting replacement codified ordinance section 1329.03, placement of numbers on buildings.
Can we have a motion to waive the reading of this legislation in its entirety?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Holman moves and Mrs. DiGiacomo seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will waive the reading by a 6-0 vote. Items for a second reading?
Ordinance number 2026-134, an ordinance repealing in its entirety existing codified ordinance chapter 761.99 entitled Sale of Tobacco Products to Persons Under 21 Years Old, penalty to impose new fines and criteria for license suspension. Ordinance number 2026-135, an ordinance adopting new codified ordinance chapter 761.99 entitled Sale of Tobacco Products to Persons Under 21 Years Old, penalty.
May I have a motion to waive the reading of this legislation in its entirety?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. DiGiacomo moves, Mrs. Mills seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will waive that by a 6-0 vote. We will now vote on the adoption of this legislation. Would you please call the roll?
Mrs. DiGiacomo?
Yes.
Mr. Guerrero?
Yes.
Mr. Simeone? Mr. Roskovich?
Yes.
Ms. Holman?
Yes.
Mrs. Mills?
Yes.
Those 2 items of legislation have passed by a 6-0 vote. Thank you. We have no administrative approval votes this evening. And so at this time, if anyone has something they'd like to share with, tell us something we don't know, now would be the time to do that.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I have something. I got a couple things, but the first one, I'm super excited about this because our daughter, Amanda Mills, has a ribbon cutting for her new business, and it's called MCC Therapies. Her ribbon cutting is next Tuesday, August 11th at noon. Her office space, I'm excited. It's in my Ward 4, 4510 Collins Boulevard, Suite 5. So she has numerous degrees and certifications, specializes in pediatric occupational therapy, tailored to those who are neurodivergent or otherwise developmentally disabled. So she's taken a venture to be a new young business owner, which is kind of scary to do, you know, going from working in school systems to having a business. So if you're able to come and support her, that would be great. We're excited. So Bands on the Beach, the last one, or the next to last one is this Thursday, Stratford Hill Band at Walnut Beach. And that's from, Mr. Manager, is it 7 to 9? 7 to 9. And the last one is August 20th, et cetera. And I noted that, I thought this was kind of cool. The new inclusion playground at Walnut Beach, they have an author coming this Friday. They paired up the County Board of Developmental Disabilities and the library, Harbor Topkey. So it's a book signing and story time with author Kate Church and her son, Zach. So, and Zach will be reading the story. And I looked up a little history on them, and I think they're from Shelby, Ohio. And Zach also, he's on the spectrum, so he learns telling stories. And when he's on his way to therapy, he's always telling stories about dinosaurs. So I think the book is Clipper the Dinosaur. So I think like he kind of helped Mom, write it, his story. Anyways, he's going to read it. So that's from 10:30 till noon this Friday, August 7th at Walnut Beach. So if you can come out and support Zach, if you know anybody with little kids. And this Friday is also the Second Bridge Street Night Market from 5 to 8. The first one was a big success. They have food trucks, vendors, shopping. The live music is High Horse, and the merchants are open till 8. And the last one, it was like, reminds you of standing room only, parking, it was sort of like the Wine and Walleye yes. It was really busy, and it's nice. Tons of vendors set up there. They have a big variety. So, and I learned when I was doing the GEO back to school event, Drew Thomas is the president of the board. They changed some things there because they saw there was a big need. They had certain days you could come and get food pantry and produce. So basically now it's like they have a store set up. And so from Monday to Thursday, from 11 to 2, it's like you can go in, they have a shopping cart, it's all stocked up in there, and like you can go shopping every couple weeks. If you have a need in between, it's not a problem. And they have days where mixed meats come in, well, they have steak and beef and chicken and all that. So I think last month they had over 400 people, so you can see that there's a need there. So 11 to 2, they don't turn anybody away, and they just keep stocking up, so that's kind of new, so I wanted to spread that word. If anybody's out there has a food need, please share. Thank you.
Anyone else had anything they'd like to share this evening? I just, again, I know we mentioned it earlier, the outrageously successful Wine and Walleye Festival, that was just fantastic. And if you were down the harbor and listened to what people from all over the area say about our town, sure we have our issues and sure we're working on stuff, but we have so much good here. And I think we need to remember that and sometimes maybe promote that as well. So that was very good. And I will say, I will agree with Mr. Timmer, that grand finale was probably the best grand finale I've seen. That was some good fire. I could sat there and watched those. But okay, seeing no one adding anything else, council is now going to move into executive session, at which time we will come out and adjourn with no action. So our next council meeting will be August 17th. We will see you then. Thank you for coming.